Hey,
Hello.
Hi, thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out all of the new, I don't know, the new things that we have to do now with COVID-19 stuff, getting our shows canceled and whatnot.
I know a lot of
But
artists
yeah,
are
we're
kind
pretty
of
good.
taking a hit. Yeah, it's been a time. We're in quarantine, so it's okay.
Yeah.
oh yeah, New York, they've cracked down pretty hard on you guys, haven't they?
Yeah. Yep.
Dang.
Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm Wesley, by the way.
I'm Spartacus, which obviously is a stage name. But yeah, fun fact about me, I'm the drummer in the band and I like lifting weights.
Okay.
That's about it, yeah.
You could be any utensil in the kitchen. What would you be and why?
I'd be a knife because I'd like to be known as the most dangerous man in the room.
Yeah, that's fitting. I'd be a spoon, because
Big spoon or little spoon.
probably the big spoon. Little spoon, best defense. But yeah, because like if you think about ramen, I can eat it with a fork and that's great. But like I can also manage to eat it with a spoon and get the liquid at the same time.
Okay.
But also because like I grew up eating cereal. Like my diet was just like cereal, like growing up. So
Eating ramen with a spoon.
spoon just is related to cereal, and I love cereal.
So wrong.
And I'm using a spoon right now for my teeth. So
Okay, so my next question for you is what music are you currently listening to?
You're picking your feet, so I'll answer first. Currently, I have like just about a month and a half ago, and I'm late on this, so I feel bad, but I discovered a band called the band Camino, and I've been on a huge the band Camino kick. Like they've suddenly come into my life and like taken over my heart and become like one of my top 10 favorite bands. Which is hard to do. I think the last time a new band entered that top 10 was like 10 or more years ago, you know. So yeah, I've personally been listening to them a lot, and I don't know. All Time Low is coming out with a new album, so I'm listening to that too.
Awesome.
Yep.
I listen to a lot of Mute Math and Paper Route, both kind of like underdogs in the alt rock scene. And actually both of them I think are
Underrated.
are broken up. Well, Paper Route might not be. They haven't really announced anything. But I've also like as of in the current weeks, I've been listening to a lot of Paramore, because I'm using that inspiration to edit our next track that's coming out in April. So I'm like using the elements that I like hear in off of their new album called After Laughter, as well as I'm also referencing there's a new band out there called Sub Radio. They're kind of like on our level, maybe a little bit bigger, and they for one of their most recent tracks they used the same producer that Coin did. I don't know if you know who Coin is, but yeah, they used like the same producer and mixing engineer on that track that I'm like using as a reference for some of our stuff. So and yes, and Coin as well, like they're awesome. So those are kind of all the bands I've been listening to lately.
Nice. I like asking this question. It normally expands my musical library. So you mentioned
Yeah.
a new track coming out. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Sure.
Okay.
It's called Picture, and I started writing it when for a class we were supposed to take an album that we liked, and again it was that Paramore album. We were supposed to take an album we liked, and we were supposed to write a song that was like supposed to be like the next, like if they were gonna write another song for that album, what would it sound like? That was the assignment. And so I wrote this song and kind of used those textures from that album to try to create this new song. And then we kind of eventually made it, because I used it for the band, like we eventually kind of made it our own. definitely has some of its own elements standalone. And so that was maybe 2 years ago, almost, maybe a year and a half, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was 2 years ago, like almost to the day actually. And then Spartacus came in and added some really cool drum flair to it that totally took the song to the next level. So we've also been collaborating a little bit on the lyrics. Like I pretty much have written them, but I'm always like bouncing the ideas off of him lyrically because it's been through a lot of changes. So it will probably still go through changes up until the day it's released.
Can you tell me what your favorite part of a song you've written is? It could be any song you've released and any part of a song. So like a lyric, a drum riff, a guitar riff, or like a drum cadence, anything.
Do you want to start with that one? Because
Sure.
you're less biased.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll do songs that we've released because,
Okay.
I mean, if it's one we haven't released yet, then people won't really be able to know what I'm talking about yet, at least. So I joined the band about 6 or 7 months ago. September. I joined the band back in September, however long ago that was. I'll let you do the math. I don't want to. It's too early for me. Anyways, and one of the things that like really convinced me to join this band, because I was like really picky with bands that I would join and stuff, because I can get lots of gigs as a drummer out here. I heard Tongue Tied Twisted, and it just really, like, how the song starts just really struck me. Like, I don't know if you've listened to that song yet. Yeah. So how it just starts with the ba, 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 da, da. And then it's got that cool guitar riff that's layered with synth. And I was like, oh damn, this is really cool. Like, I've got to like, okay, I'm actually interested, because a lot of the time when a band that is like quote unquote local asks you to join them, you hear their stuff and you're like, yeah, you know. But I heard Tongue Tied Twisted for the first time. I was like, this is legit. This band has a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and like credit to Wesley for his songwriting and production on that song. So yeah, since then I've kind of been full steam ahead band member. So that's one of my favorite moments of the song that we've released, at least, is definitely the intro to, I mean, the whole song is great, but like the intro to Tongue Tied Twisted, it really just grabs your attention.
Yeah, I'm going off the same song. I think for me, the bridge of that song, when like everything goes halftime for a minute, the lyrics that come in say, "Curse the day I act my age."
Good part.
And that, I mean, not only musically is it just like this huge climax, but also like that's just kind of my mantra lately. In fact, we put that lyric on our wristbands, because yeah, thanks. Because yeah, it's just like I mean, especially for me, I'm like the oldest member of the band, and so it's just like tough sometimes to be in the same space of like trying to pursue my dreams when kind of everyone my age is already like settled down into their 9-to-5 jobs. But I'm like, no, that's just not for me. Like, curse the day I act my age. So keeps me going.
What is your opinion of releasing an artist's unreleased music after they've passed away? Should it be released or should it not?
Ooh. I'll go ahead on this one. I personally think yes. I mean, I know personally, like, I've got a bunch of songs like in the pipeline ready to go for like future Suit Up Soldier albums, and like, heaven forbid, like if I died tomorrow in some horrible car crash or something, I would want those songs to still be like shared with the world, because they're important to me, and I feel like they can be important to someone else and like help someone else out, like even in the way that they've helped me. Writing songs and lyrics for me is like very cathartic and very therapeutic, and listening to music obviously is too for so many people. plus, entertainment value, right? But so yeah, I think it should be, and like proceeds should, like, if they have like a family, like benefit their family or estate, or if not that, then like, I don't know, go to a charity that they supported or whatever. That's my hot take on that.
Yeah, I think for me, I would agree with what Spartacus said. Like I know that Justin Timberlake, if I'm not mistaken, Justin Timberlake had the chance to kind of piece together and finish some Michael Jackson songs that were unreleased before he passed away. And like releasing those songs, especially if they're not like quite done yet, you have to put that song in the care of someone that you trust, that maybe all the producers of that artist trust, or maybe that artist themselves trusted, like Justin Timberlake, very worthy candidate for a Michael Jackson record. So yeah, I mean, I think, and it's actually like there's a lyric in the song we're about to release that says like, shoot, now I'm blanking on the lyric. I've been working on the drums for like 2 days, so I haven't even been listening to like the lyrics of it. It's there's the sad fact we have to die, and somewhere there an unfinished work lies. And like the song is about like living your life now, because someday you're gonna, especially for artists, you're gonna die and there's gonna be something unfinished, and it's sad. So like do as much as you can now. And but like I'd want to see that work finished and put out to the world. So that's my opinion on that.
So we know there are so many different moving parts to this question, because like I just listen to music. I'm kind of on the receiving end. I don't do much besides these interviews, and like as a fan, you always want to hear more music. But like at the same time, would the artists have been happy? Like we've had this question compared to, I'll give a little backstory. We've had it compared to like Kurt Cobain's Journal. You've had this compared to the new Mac Miller album that was recently released, and then we've had it like the Little Peep songs that kind of sound like bedroom demos that are not quite finished. So it's very interesting to see like how different aspects of this kind of come into play, and then we normally start talking about like artist wills. So it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
My next question for you is, if you could change one thing about the music industry as it is today, what would it be and why?
I personally would want to. Oh gosh, I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna say it. I would personally want to go back to CD sales and kind of do away with streaming. Now, at the same time, like I'm a premium like Spotify subscriber, so like I'm kind of a hypocrite saying that, but like as an artist, like it's very difficult to make any sort of income these days off of single or album sales, just because of streaming, and how much it's changed the landscape of the music industry. But that being said, like I also love being able to have any song I want at my fingertips, like, and that has facilitated a lot of new music discovery for me. So like in a way, I'm grateful to it, but at the same time, it's like I do kind of miss, like back when I was a kid. I remember the first album I ever got was the All American Rejects, their first album, and I just like listened to that album start to finish, and would listen to it on repeat. And every new album that I ever got, like I would do that, and it was like listening to an entire album all the way through was like this, almost like a spiritual journey, like especially if it was an album that was well done. It takes you from start to finish, and like just gives you all the feels, and like I still attempt to do that as often as possible, but I will admit it's probably been a while since the last time that I like bought a new CD, new album, or even just pulled it up on Spotify and just like locked myself in my room to just listen to the thing all the way through. So maybe I need to do that again, because it was always like a special experience when I did it. But yeah, that's what I would do. Go back to CDs.
Yeah, that's actually what got me into music, was like being able to listen to a full album and to hear that album evolve as the songs progressed, and from start to finish, it's a journey. And that became my dream as a teenager, to release a full-length album and take listeners through a journey. Whereas today, that's kind of not as popular. It's a singles game. Listeners are a little bit more ADD, and they're more listening to playlists than they are like full albums. But what I would say about that is that it's actually created a platform for independent artists to be able to focus on one song, on getting one good song out there and having it reach a worldwide audience because of the algorithms on Spotify. And B, it allows them to, well, like I said, reach a worldwide audience. Like it allows them to actually be independent artists and like grow their fan base a lot quicker and break into the industry because they're good, and not just because they had some sort of crazy connection or amount of money. So because of that, like I don't lament the CD sale thing as much, because I know there's other ways to make money as an artist, but I do lament it in the way that like maybe people won't appreciate my art the same way that I would, because of my dream to like make a full-length cohesive album. But anywho, I don't know what I would change necessarily about the music industry right now. I think for us, I mean, we just lack like the money to get things done, and I wish there were more options, or at least that I knew about, to provide capital for independent artists, so that they don't have to immediately be seeking out a label, or that they can take the time to grow before they're ready for a label or whatever it is, so that they can have some sort of capital to finish their music, because creating music can be time consuming and expensive.
I also wish rock music was back in vogue.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with the Spotify thing. I kind of think it's actually what I normally say to people when they ask me my opinion back. It's Spotify's great for exposure. Just kind of miss the concept of like owning the physical thing and just sitting and listening to like full all the way through. And yeah, it is kind of a singles game, and I kind of hate how Spotify has kind of changed how people in the market look at what music is. It's kind of, someone once told me like music is now commodified more so than it was before, which I thought was pretty interesting. What's the scene like where you are?
It's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you've got the Utah scene, but then you've got like there's actually a pretty sharp divide between like the Salt Lake City scene and the Provo scene, which is like where we are. And Provo is very much like indie rock, or like roots / folk rock. Like those are the two things that are like super, super popular in this town. And then like pretty much anything else, like it's hard to come by, or hard to find a lot of support for it in like Provo and the surrounding metro area. Once you get up to Salt Lake, there's a lot more like, I mean, there's those styles, but there's also like hardcore and a metal scene up there too.
There's a huge metal scene in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Like every day I see someone posting on the Facebook groups like looking for a metal singer, looking for a metal guitarist, looking for, it's like, how many metal bands are there in Salt Lake? It's like they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, there's a lot up there. So I was actually in one of them once upon a time. But yeah, that's my take on what the scene is like here. I don't know if you have anything to add. Like,
Yeah, we like our city specifically. So like Provo itself is a gem musically because Provo, Utah has seen like a lot of really talented artists come through here. Um, and the ones that have maybe have put the town on the map were like Neon Trees and Imagine Dragons.
the Aces more recently.
The Aces are a more recent one. They're like an all-girl band, all-female band, and so I think like what's really special about Provo is it's made me and really just us collectively really up our game because it's really competitive here. But at the same time, it's a little bit sad because we have been kind of buried for a long time. Before we released any music, like it was really hard to gain a fan base because I was older, and so it's not like I could just grab all my college friends and get them to a show. I needed people to come to my show because they actually liked my music, which is like really not the case for a lot of local bands here. They just like they have a bunch of friends and then bring them to a show, and then all the venues are like, oh, praise this band who like really isn't that great, and because they brought a lot of their friends to the show. And for us, like we could never really get more than 30 people out to a show
until recently.
Until recently, and like like the Provo scene wasn't really nice to us because we kind of started out as a punk band, and like punk rock itself was like super underdog here, and then we kind of shifted towards like stuff that I wanted to do, and as members changed and like our sound evolved, and like I'm definitely comfortable with where we're going, but now that we're in this like indie pop alt rock space, it might play to our favor just because we're one of the very few in the area. But at the same time, it's a little bit like venues kind of don't know what to do with us because they're not used to, they don't know which bands to pair us with. There's very few that they can. But it definitely played to our favor when we opened for Coin a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And, we were able to play to an audience of 2,000 people because of it. So like no other Provo band will be able to say that this year because they discontinued what was called the rooftop concert series. A lot of like big bands would come through and play at this free concert where like thousands of people would gather in the city. And they would do like every first Friday of the month was the rooftop concert series. And like that put a lot of bands on the map. We never got to play it because we were just, again, kind of the underdogs in the scene. But yeah, so I think like it's really weird. Like we've been kind of buried for a while, but I think this year is our year. Hopefully it is.
So you were mentioning your sound. Can you please describe it for me in 3 words? You can each do 3 words.
Pop, alt rock.
No, indie pop and alt rock are 1 word each because there's a hyphen in it.
Okay.
It's always fun.
Eclectic. That's 1 word I would use. Eclectic.
I don't know if you want me to supply one of the words. So we've got eclectic. How about I want to say fun, but I feel like that's too shallow.
Like, well, energetic kind of.
Yeah, energetic actually would be a good word. Like we are very, very high energy on stage and in studio. So I feel like that comes through in our recordings, or at least it should. Yeah, so eclectic, energetic. Why don't we do another E word just to make it
should we make it? Yeah, should we do one more E word?
Eclectic, epic.
There you go.
So my next question for you is, what do you do when you're not writing music?
Write more music. No, I'm just kidding.
Not much. We honestly, it's like, I think if we were like this big band, like touring a bunch and really settled into our career, we would have maybe other hobbies. Right now, I don't really feel like I'm doing much outside of music, which is really sad. But I don't know.
I like going to the gym, which is hard because they're all closed right now. but I don't know. Just I'm kind of a fitness nut personally. Watching copious amounts of Netflix. That's another good one.
It's a great one. I've always been into volleyball. I grew up playing.
I love volleyball.
And I mean, I'm fine with any sport really, but yeah, that's probably yeah.
I do love watching basketball. Go Raptors, baby! Woo! I'm originally from that area, so gotta rep my team. Even though the NBA is also canceled right now, so like everything is canceled right now. It sucks. Life is not canceled though, so we can go on living that and writing new songs at least.
Oh, I was just gonna say that to answer your previous question, I think also I love playing with my daughter. She's at a super fun stage. She's a year and a half right now.
She's super cute.
So we go for walks around the neighborhood. We play catch and stuff. It's fun.
Oh, nice. It's kind of like nice to have those moments too, just separate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your writing process like?
I think it's different for each song and for each of us individually. On this first album, like most of the songs have been primarily written by Wesley. And that's partially because he's a great writer, but also partially because for a while it was just him and Josh, the keyboardist, who were actually in the band until they finally found the right lineup, adding me and a couple other guys who are now like, it's now like the lineup, right, of all committed guys. For me personally, my writing process, I start with lyrics a lot of the time. And I don't know, that could just be because I'm a drummer and I'm like maybe melodically challenged a bit. I don't know. I actually, no, I've written some pretty dank like melodies and stuff. So it's not really that. It's just I've always been kind of a word person and I always connect with good lyrics in a song. I won't say more so than the music, but probably just as much and sometimes more. And so, yeah, I start with lyrics a lot of the time and then I'll kind of craft a song around that, but that's not always the case, right? Like sometimes I'll just have a melody pop into my head and I'll like voice memo it without any words, then figure out the words later. Or sometimes I start with a guitar riff, it just all depends. And then I get it to a point where I'm ready to maybe collaborate on it with like Wesley or someone, and then we go from there. Because I'm a big fan of the collaborative process. I think it makes songs a lot better when you've got 2 to 3 people working on it. Any more than that, and it's like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my process. I'll let Wes go.
I think I'm kind of similar. Like, I'm definitely inspired by drums, so it's easy for me to kind of start with the drum beat. But I have plenty of songs that did not start with drums. I think if you zoom out the process, like, because obviously there's like a lot of different ways to go about writing a song, but if you zoom out, it's really just about putting together a puzzle, because rarely do I get the whole song as inspiration right at once. When those moments happen, it's really special, but most of the time it starts with one thing and then you just start building around that thing. So if I come up with a guitar riff, it's like, okay, now what chord progression should go under that and then what chord progression and beat should go under that to really elevate that guitar riff. Or if it's a melody, for a vocal melody, then it also might be a similar process to find like a chord progression and tempo and drum line that really elevates the vocal line. So anyway, finally the puzzle will come together, and then the song gets released.
If you could collaborate with any artist dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a good question. Man. I'll just go ahead and say Brandon Flowers, frontman of the Killers. I've always kind of idolized that dude for a lot of reasons, but yeah, just yeah, he's awesome. Like I would totally love to. I don't know if our writing styles would be anywhere remotely similar, but it'd be fun to like kind of hang. I'd probably, if honestly, if I collaborated with him, I'd probably just like take all his suggestions and be like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, sounds great, yeah, let's do that. That's me. I'd probably be fanboying the whole time, but whatever, I don't care. I just want to meet the dude.
Yeah, there. I'd say off the top of my head, there's probably more, but off the top of my head, the three that I can think of are any of the guys from Paramore, and Hayley Williams. Like that'd be really fun to collaborate with her. And Mute Math, Paul. I think his last name is Meany or Miani, something like I don't remember how to pronounce it, but yeah, Paul or Darren King from Mute Math. And then there's this guy named Ace Enders that I grew up listening to. He was a part of a band called The Early November. They're actually still around. I recently went to a concert of theirs, and their music to me was like always like I could like not be listening to them for like a 2-year period, and then all of a sudden I can come back and see what they released and listen to everything that they had on their discography, and I would usually love it all. Like it was, just all really inspiring music to me. So I'd love to write with Ace Enders someday.
What's your favorite concert that you've been to?
For me, I've been to so many good concerts. That's way too hard. Suit Up Soldier, obviously. No, I mean, besides us though, this is cheating, but whatever. 3-way tie between The Killers, Muse, and Anberlin.
Oh yeah, I've been to an Anberlin concert.
Yeah, so like obviously, so you got the Killers and Muse, who are like kind of two sides of the same coin. They're like some of the biggest names in rock and alternative rock over the past 15 years or more, and they tour stadiums internationally and headline them and sell them out. And then Anberlin, like they're not nearly as big as the Killers or Muse, but like they were still pretty big, especially in their time, and their shows are so high energy, like holy cow, and they're just so good and so talented. And I saw them this past summer on their reunion tour, actually, because they broke up back in 2014, and like it was amazing. I can honestly say I've never been at a concert where like every audience member knew every word to every single song that they played. It was like such a cool thing, such a cool feeling. And I actually like splurged and got like the VIP pass, so I got to meet them and take pictures and get signed swag, and just like I was right there at the front for the whole time, and it was awesome. It was such a rush, such an experience.
Yeah, I've been. It's hard. There's a lot of good concerts that I competed in my mind. 21 Pilots was awesome, but I was like way in the back, so it wasn't as cool as like being up front. But like still, fantastic concert. I loved the Mute Math concert that I went. That the one and only Mute Math concert I ever went to was fantastic. And there was just like this moment where like they did this bass drop. It like filled my soul. It was so good. It was so like, yeah, my wife was there. She can relate. We were blown away. And also like a bunch of my favorite bands have played together, and so that's what has made the concert like extra special. Like May, Reliant K, Switchfoot, and Yellow Card.
Oh, I've seen Reliant K too.
And yeah, Reliant K is really fun. And, like those 4 bands, like they've all shared the stage together, and any combination of them sharing the stage at the same time has been really fun. So a lot of bands, but it's hard to choose.
Yeah.
I definitely understand. I feel like each experience is kind of different and special in its own way when you go to a concert. So it's always
yeah, for sure.
Okay, So my next one for you is, what's your favorite album in your personal collection?
The Everglow by May. That was, I mean, there have been albums since then that have like really inspired me and are probably like to date or that are like my current favorites. But the Everglow by May will always be the album that like it started this whole thing. It's like the reason why I'm a musician and I'm broke, and why I love music, and just like why I can't get away from this passion. Yeah, what about you?
Oh man, you're asking really tough questions. You know that, right?
I'm doing a good job.
No, you're good. You're good. This is the good stuff. I love talking about this stuff. It's just like I said, it's hard. Gosh, I'm gonna have to go with first place goes to Battleborn by The Killers, which was their fourth album. Came out in 2012, so I was like a junior in high school at the time, and that it came out. Yeah, I was a junior in high school, and like that like particular time in my life was like a pretty particularly difficult time of my life, and I know that album just like spoke to me in a way that like no album ever had before. And this is one of the ones where like going back to what I was talking about with CDs before, like I would listen to that album start to finish, like not just once, like the first time buying it, but like multiple times, you know. And like the lyrics on that album just like really spoke to me a lot and like helped me through a lot of difficult times in my life, and still do sometimes. So it's like got a special place in my heart. Very much so lyrically, and musically too. But like then I'd give runner up to Try Hard by the band Camino, which again I only discovered them a month and a half ago, but they've like completely stolen my musical heart. Like I said, like I'm a huge fan now. I don't actually have that one in my collection of CDs yet, because I do have a CD collection. So I need to go buy it to support them because I freaking love them. So yeah.
CDs or vinyl?
I haven't really gotten into vinyl just because I don't have a record player.
Yeah, same.
But it would be cool if I ever had one.
Yeah, I feel like they're both. I know, like recently, there's been this huge uptick with vinyl because it's a way to own something and kind of like you can hang it on your wall or you can use a record player.
Yeah, it's like shifted from CDs to vinyl, which is probably cooler anyway. Yeah, like CDs are like lower quality and like then it's like really small artwork, whereas like vinyl you get like this big artwork and like yeah, vinyl.
I still prefer CDs, but I've never owned a record player either. So
my next question for you is: you guys are going on a road trip. What are 3 songs that must be in your playlist?
I'm told I have a Spotify road trip playlist. I'll look it up right now. I'll let you go first.
1 second.
Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, this is a tough one. Like my road trip playlist is significantly longer than 3 songs. I'll just like pick 3. I'll just like pick a few random ones from it. California by Phantom Planet. I don't know if you've ever heard that song or heard of that band. It's an oldie but a goodie. It came out in 2004, I think. It was actually like the theme song of a TV show called The OC or something like that. And like it's just got a very, very much of a road trip vibe, and like it's really fun to sing along to. And it's about going to California. So, but even if I'm on a road trip going like the complete opposite direction of California, I would still listen to it. Then after that, pretty much anything by Oasis. Their songs all sound great for road trips, like Champagne Supernova. Highly recommend for road trips. And then I'll be a little basic and say Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts. Well, the Rascal Flatts version, it's not by them, but you know, because you're on the highway and it's a road trip song. What more can I say about that, right?
Yeah, I
For
feel,
me, I have to listen to "Misery Business" by Paramore if
Yeah.
I'm on a road trip because I can sing in her range. Africa by Toto.
Oh,
okay.
there we go. Good one. How about the Weezer version?
There's like the classic ones that are just like meant for a road trip, like um I don't even know the words. The one that's like dun dun dun, I'm on my way, something like that.
On my way. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. The one that plays Ice Age. I can't even remember the name of that song.
I can't either. It's probably called "On My Way" or something like that. But
Well, now I need to add that to my road trip playlist.
but I've like literally listened to it like almost every road trip because some friend will like pull it up, not because I have it on my personal playlist.
Okay. And
So there you go.
amazing. Do you have any pre-show rituals or superstitions?
We did like a little band prayer circle for the coin show.
Oh yeah,
That was like, I think for our bigger shows, like the anxiety gets really high and like we need something to like just like level us. But
I'll like kind of flippantly call upon the drum gods to bless my hands so that I play well. Hope I'm not like struck down one day for doing that. Be like, all hail John Bonham, Neil Peart, and Buddy Rich, please bless me. You know, like three of the greatest drummers of all time, in case you weren't aware. Yeah, I don't know, just like that. I make sure I have a full belly.
oh, for sure, eating.
Yeah.
Or like for me, vocally, I'll have to. So like if I'm not feeling my best vocally, which like today is one of those. I didn't tell you that yet. I'm not feeling super great vocally, and we have a show tomorrow. We're doing like this live streaming festival. I will do like I'll either gargle with salt water, or like take a really hot shower so that like I can inhale the steam from it, or like a humidifier, or eat an orange, which is actually probably really not great like right before you sing because it's like so acidic. But it just like it like it I don't know. To me, it feels like it's hydrating me in the moment to do that, and I just feel like something just a little bit acidic. So those are my little rituals.
What's your favorite venue that you've played in?
I mean, as a band or like personally or as a band probably.
Yeah, I mean as a band it was at BYU
when we opened for Coin. So it was in this big ballroom, like, and I don't know, they're just once you play shows that are big like that, like you kind of start wanting that more often because you kind of felt the taste for it almost. It's like after you've eaten, you know, I don't know where I'm going with that analogy. Never mind.
Well, I mean, what it is like you learn how to fill the space because
Yeah.
you get on a bigger stage, you play in front of thousands of people, and you start learning how to interact with that many people. And because all the actions are a lot bigger, you can do like
you can do a lot more on the stage. You can run around,
you can jump, you can like there's just the movement is a lot bigger, and you kind of get used to that, and then you get put on like. A couple weeks later, we played on this stage that didn't even fit all five of us. We were like not shoulder to shoulder. I'm exaggerating with that if I say that, but it
was small.
It was really small, and it's like hard to just like stand there in one position and move around. You figure it out, but it's just nothing like being on this huge stage that you get to fill and interact with audience on the left and audience on the right, you know, instead of just like the 50 people that are right there in the room.
Yeah.
So.
And my last question for you is, what are your goals for 2020?
Ooh.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so me and Stingray, our bassist, we actually like had a serious sit down and we like wrote out a band 5-year like vision and goals and plans to achieve that. Like we've become like very like business oriented with this band now, and not at like the expense of the music or the creative side of it, but like the reality is that in order to like make it as an artist or a band, you have to pay a lot of attention and spend a lot of time with the business side, right? So that being said, like we created goals and all that, and we're like working towards those. So I would say our goals for 2020 are, first of all, release all of our planned singles on time, or at least close to on time.
A few weeks.
Within a few weeks of our goal release dates. Release our full length album in September. And like, should I share like the specific like streaming goals we have? I don't know, like numbers.
Sure.
Like, so with this next single that we're about to release, so like obviously with Tongue Tied Twisted, we're almost at 200,000 streams, which is like, it's good, you know. It's I would say it's better than like your average local band for sure, and kind of helps you start getting into that regional status almost. But obviously we're not satisfied with that. Like, it's good, but it's like we want to do more and do better. So with our next single, we want to get to 1 million streams. I tend to set like really high goals too. So like my thought is I want us to get to like 1 million streams in a month, which who knows if that's actually realistic, but it can happen, right? And then I would love us to cross the 10 million total streams threshold this year as well, and then just continue building it from there. And I think and then another big goal is to do like a full-on tour. That was going to be for like spring and summer, but obviously plans have changed, and now we're gunning for that in the fall. And we do hope to come to New York as well. So
New York is one of our bigger streaming cities, so
yeah.
Always good.
Yeah. I mean, it probably has a little bit to do with the fact that there's a lot of people in New York, but still, that means there's more people that could come to the show.
Which city did you say you're from?
I'm from Staten Island, which is actually where Wagner's located. So
yeah,
okay.
One of the boroughs.
That's just how far away from NYC is that, like travel time wise?
We're in the city. We're one of the 5 boroughs, but from Manhattan,
that's right.
It's a ferry ride. So
yeah.
where you are, it could be like if you're downtown, it's like the half-hour ferry. For me to get across the island, it's like an hour train ride and then the half-hour ferry. So.
But yeah, so like kind of those release goals and then tour for sure. And I think another goal that we have is to make sure that we like sell out every venue that we play as a headliner, which is obviously easier said than done, but like we've both, sold out venues before as the headlining band or artist. So we know we can do it. It's just a matter of putting together the right strategy and then executing that strategy. So we're working on all that stuff behind the scenes right now.
Yeah, it was seeming more feasible as we were like planning tour, and then a lot of tours canceled. So we'll see what happens after this is all over.